Hey baby dolls, welcome back for day 8. It's actually day 8. I said day 8 yesterday. Yesterday was day 7. Today is day 8 of 25 days of books. Your girl is tired. Your girl has been going through it. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been feeling very great, and so I'm trying really hard to stay up on here, even though I'm neglecting my other responsibilities on my other channel. If you follow me over there, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to catch up this week, but today, we're talking about books that I DNF'd this year. So I'm not really much of a DNF girly. I'm a mood reader, and so I tend to kind of take a book and I'll be real into it, and then I'll hit a part and I'm just like, the mood is gone. The feeling is gone. And so really and truly, I rarely talk about DNF simply because I don't have a lot to say about DNFing. I'm not one of those people that's you should never talk about DNFing a book because I just think that's so rude and problematic. Listen, y'all, either we're going to talk about books or we're not. And outside of disrespect, we don't get to dictate how people who spend their money, spend their time reading books, talks about books. Art has always been critiqued, and authors don't get a pass. So therefore, I'm going to talk about the things that I did not like about some of these books and why I put them down. Some of them I'm going to be picking them back up, and some of them I don't know. So let's go ahead and get into it. So I only really put down a few of my physical books this year. I will say this year is, I think, the first year that I really and truly have found myself fatigued with arcs. Not because of the amount of arcs that I've been getting, right? Even though I have been getting a lot of arcs, and that's something that I do want to manage in 2026. We're going to be talking about 2026 reading goals later this week. But really and truly, I feel a lot of the arcs that I've received, I was really excited for, and they didn't deliver. At all. They did not deliver. And it's not even that the writing was bad. It was just that you're telling me that the book is supposed to be one thing, but I'm reading this book and none of the things that you promised me have happened, and we're 1,000,001 pages into this baby. So let's talk about some of those. The first book is A Lesson in Deceit by Allie Shante. I did get this via Good Girls PR, so shout out to Good Girls PR because they're always really great about sending over arcs. And they're also just really kind about life, so I appreciate that as well. This book was marketed as a college, dark academia-esque Why Choose? So at the top of the book, we're introduced to our main character. She is out with a friend, and immediately it's established that we're dealing with some type of magic system. We know that we're dealing with regular people who are also living in tandem with people who have magical abilities, and they are kind of propped up. Humans are propped up to be fearful of these people. And so she ends up encountering a guy that she just kind of falls for immediately. They kind of have this whole cat and mouse thing going on. And they end up dating. Cutting from that moment, then we're cutting to her finding out about her father's untimely death, and then also fast forwarding later to her deciding to move out and attend the same university where her father was killed. She believes that he was killed. They have deemed it, suicide, different causes, right? I'm going to be honest, guys, I really couldn't get into this story. For one, for me, a lot of it was the age. For me, she just started off a little too young, and I wasn't interested in reading a character that was that young, especially off of the height of the Her Vicious Beast series. I think I had just finished reading Scythe's book when I got this arc. And that one was so good, and I love reading characters that are at least grown enough at this point. I'm getting at that age where if it's gonna be YA, make it YA. And if it's not, then make it not. You get what I'm saying? And I think that really and truly when it comes to Why Choose dynamics, I just don't want to read characters that are that young most of the time. But also, the way that all of this was set up, it was just really hard to get into. And I found myself almost 100 pages in, not really understanding who's supposed to go with who and what the point of everything was, really and truly. A lot of my friends were like, girl, like, you're gonna love this book. And I really, really wanted to, because other people that I love and trust with recommendations and share similar likes with recommended it, and I did not have a good time. I just didn't have a good time. I kept trying to make myself have a good time, and it wasn't working. They also sent me book 2, because I believe this is supposed to be a duet. I want to say the second book is a lesson in obedience, if my brain is remembering correctly. They sent it to me, and I don't even think I downloaded it. I wasn't feeling it. I might try it again later, but as of right now, it's not my thing. Next up, we have The Bonekeeper's Daughter by Elise Fry. This is book 1 in the Blade and Bone trilogy. This was a book that I actually was really enjoying, but it was a lot of book. This book is 792 pages. It is supposed to be a dark fantasy why choose. We have a main character who has experienced a lot of very overt trauma in her very young years. So she is like the last bone keeper in their tribe. And the bone keeper basically functions as somewhat of like the reaper and the watcher of the souls that move on from the people that live in this community. So she's kind of like human, but also God adjacent in a way. Like she does have magic. She has been gifted. And so with everything that's been happening with the decline in their population, the inability for many of their women to have children, their council decides to keep her under lock and key. And so they literally have had this girl trapped for ages. She is followed by the people of the council and their guards, and she never really has a moment alone outside of the times where they decide to detain her as a form of punishment. She like really has lived a pretty brutal life, and really the only thing that keeps her company are her bones. And so when she is wearing the bones, when she's touching the bones, she can speak with the spirits that, you know, were housed in those vessels. And so those are really the only people that she has to keep her company in a way. I found the story really compelling. It was definitely a lot. Like some of the pieces were really, really hard to read. I feel like if you struggle with that type of trauma, I would even say if you struggle with claustrophobia, this book might be a little difficult for you. My bigger issue with this book is that when I signed up for the ARC, it was marketed as a slow burn why choose, right? The thing is, it's not slow burn, it's no burn. Like there's no room. I got halfway through this book and I can't see how there really is any room for true romance yet. I don't see any of that happening. And it's very clear and apparent to me that by the time we get to the end of the book, we're still not really going to know who her love interests are, if that makes sense. This is the thing, a lot of authors are getting on the why choose bandwagon. They see the hype around why choose, and even though I think this is a beautifully written book, I definitely do plan on going back because I had a great time, but it was like, damn, I'm almost 400 pages in and this book is not over yet. Like, I don't know if any of you feel that way when you read like a really, really big book. In order for me to get through a book that size, you have to keep me in. And there were just so many, you know, points in the story that just kind of mellowed out a little bit that it was hard to keep me there at that halfway point. I will go back to it, but I am going back under the very clear understanding that this is not going to be anywhere near romantic, spicy, steamy, whatever by the time we get to the end of this first book. I think the writing is stunning. The world building hits, it eats. And I found myself very invested in the characters. So that's not the issue for me at all. I just feel like I want people to stop claiming that they write why choose if you don't know who's being chosen. right? You don't know who they're supposed to not be choosing. You don't know any of the guys they're supposed to be with. You don't even see an ankle. Like, can we stop? Like, that has been probably the greatest fatigue for me as a reader this year, is the amount of books that I have picked up where people have said, this is a why choose, and either we don't see any of the actual love interest throughout the book, or we don't really know who's supposed to matter in the story. The person actually chooses, like, you pick one or the other. If they're picking one or the other, it's not a fucking why choose. Sorry to tell you, babe. Or 3, one of them dies. Babe. Like, that's not, like, we've lost the plot. And I also feel like it's a little icky to me, and I think some of this is just publishing too, the way that some publishers are trying to jump on the why choose bandwagon without respecting polydynamics and what the why choose genre actually brings to the table, especially for people who do enjoy it. So to bring this back home, I will be revisiting this. Did I like the book for what it was? Absolutely. I think Elise Fry is building up a beautiful, I would honestly, like, it's giving high fantasy in a very dark world, you know? I think she's setting up to be an author that is able to bridge that gap between high fantasy and romantasy readers. But this book here is not why choose. And it never should have been offered to readers as being a why choose. Tell me it's why choose when it's actually going to be why choose. Then one that I don't have in front of me, it's at the library because I checked it out from the library and just couldn't get into it. Y'all are probably going to stone me. I tried to read Kindred by Octavia Butler and I couldn't do it. Octavia Butler has one of my favorite writing styles. And I love the premise of Kindred itself. But is this a safe space, y'all? Is this a safe space? Really and truly, that little white boy got on my nerves. And I wasn't in the mood. I couldn't. And I understand it's supposed to be that way, right? Because we understand that white male audacity doesn't just, fall like, you think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Like, no, like, you exist within the context, right? And so him existing in that context makes so much sense. But that little white boy just tore up my nerves. I couldn't do it. I'll revisit it when I have more patience. That's all I'm gonna say. His daddy was a whole problem, so I couldn't even, like, in good conscience say he needed a whooping, because he... Y'all already know. If you have read Kindred, you probably get what I'm saying. All right, and then my last, this is not my last arc DNF. I have one more. Second to last, we have Rebirth of Order by D.D. Williams. This was another one that I was enjoying, but y'all, this book is almost 700 pages, okay? I was like maybe 150 pages in, and it just got so slow. Like, it really started off with a bang, and then it just got really, really slow. We have our main character, Kyra, who has really just, like, run into a really shitty set of circumstances at the beginning of the book. When we're introduced to her, she is at the funeral of her best friend, whose murder that she witnessed. And everyone is looking at her like, sis, like, you must have been the one to kill your friend. But she's just like, nah, like, some shit jumped out and, like, killed her. Like, there's monsters and shit just killing people, and nobody believes her. And she is being subsequently hunted by these monsters, and also, I would say, psychologically tormented, because they keep basically offing people in front of her, and she is not able to do anything about it. Another attack occurs, and during that attack, someone with magical powers shows up and basically saves Kyra's day, saves her bacon. And she is transported to a magical school that is set in a Fae realm. At the point that I finished, she was basically, like, being interrogated by this council, and it was just, it was very long-winded. It was a lot. I really like Kyra personality-wise. She's very much like that struggling badass character, right? Like, she's a badass and she doesn't take any shit, but also, like, girl, you need to pipe down a little bit because you know? So I really like her as a character. I like the other characters that we're meeting, but again, like, it's a situation where she's being dropped in this world and we're being told that this is supposed to be like a dark, why choose, dark academia setting situation with like fantasy aspects, but still, like, we're 150, almost 200 pages in. We don't know who matters in this story. And so for me, you know, it's just, I've read such good why choose this year. I'm just saying, I have read such good why choose this year and in 2024. And so you got to make me care, babe. I do want to give this another shot though, because like I said, this really did start off with a bang. Like, the first 100 pages had me hooked, and then she got dropped in this world and it just lost me. So I do plan on trying again, because I feel like there's a lot of potential with this book as well. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like 2025 was like the pitfall for marketing with authors, because I feel like so many of the conversations we've been having around a lot of these books have all boiled down to the way that these books are being marketed. People wanting to mark their books as romance when really and truly some of them things be some horror, you know, like the marketing has really been getting at authors' asses this year. So I think this is just another case of, you know, adjusting expectations, because I don't think what was fully promised was 100% given. It's definitely not soon enough. If I'm 150 pages in, I should know who matters, who is who, and where we're going from here to some extent. I feel like that many pages in, I don't care how big the book is, I just shouldn't have that many questions. And then I DNF'd one of my most anticipated reads of the year. I did. I have tried over and over again with this book. I tried reading it in its ebook format, which I received as an ARC via NetGalley and the publisher. I also tried reading this via audiobook a couple of times, and I couldn't get through it. This is The Best Man, Unfinished Business, and this is co-authored by Malcolm D. Lee and Jayne Allen. First of all, this is not a writing problem. The writing is great. This is not an issue of it not being a good book. I think that as someone who has grown up with these characters, like, I was watching The Best Man when I was a kid, even if I really shouldn't be, right? Between The Best Man and then the movies following and the television show following, and now we're getting books, and I say books because there's going to be 3 books in this series, I think I'm just tired of some of these characters, mainly Harper. Harper is exhausting. Harper is too old to be doing what Harper be doing. Harper is too old to be having this many questions and to be still trying to make up for all of the really fucked up shit that he does. And also, like, you're trying to make up for the things that you do, but you're still doing fucked up shit. Like, it was too much. And there were just so many times where I was just like, I don't think I can continue to watch this grown-ass man spiral. I love the Best Man franchise. Like, I have loved the movies forever. And I did enjoy the show. I didn't watch all of it, but I did watch enough of it, and I did enjoy it. It was just, you know, like, again, I think I'm just kind of getting tired of these characters. In a way, reading this book felt nostalgic, but then I just felt fatigued, if that makes sense. I think that if you aren't someone who has really followed the Best Man franchise, through all of its different iterations, then I think that you will enjoy the story, because it is messy and it's well-rounded. The characters are so imperfect, which I don't mind in a story at all. But I think just like I said, as a fan of the franchise, I think I'm just a little bit tapped out of watching the same people do the same stuff over and over and over again. So I ended up tapping out of that one, but I think it's great that we're also getting some of our favorite characters and getting an acknowledgement of Black television and film in this way. So, you know, I think it's still a win regardless. All right, and then I have 2 of my physical books that I did DNF. One of these I won't be going back to, one of them I will. The first one is The Duchess Effect by Tracy Livesay. I was so excited for this book, but I think really and truly, and I made it 205, like I tried, y'all. I put it down and then I came back to it. I put it down and then I came back to it. I made it over 200 pages and I have like 100 pages left and I just can't do it. This one, again, follows Danielle and Jameson. Danielle is known as Duchess. She is a rapper. In book 1, it's very much like Harry and Meghan coded, except it's not Meghan Markle, it's Meg the Stallion. And we have Dani, who is more than a rapper. Like, she's an entrepreneur, she's working on her business, and she ends up in the orbit of Jameson, and there is a lot of fallout with the family, obviously, because he already has been very much ostracized from the family, or has ostracized himself from the family because of how they've treated his mom, a la like Princess Di. Pick up what we're putting down. I adore the first book. It was so good. There was so much yearning, the fake dating of it all, like the politics of it all. It was just a vibe. It was so good. It was so good that we didn't need this. Really and truly. Like, I think that Tracy made such a good book that it didn't need a part 2. I found myself really frustrated with both of the characters in this book, because after everything that we went through in book 1, now we have this undercurrent of like distrust and like kind of manipulation, because Dani isn't telling Jameson everything that's going on with her company, and you know, she wants to be with him, but she doesn't want their relationship to be a factor in her business. And of course, like, her investors want her to capitalize off of the fact that she's literally with a freaking prince, you know? And it's fine that she doesn't want to do that, but she's not being honest about everything that's going on, right? This book almost made me dislike them. And so I had to stop. I had to stop. There were definitely points where I was like, yeah, that's the Dani and Jameson that I know and love. But there were so many bits and pieces in here where I was just like, this makes me not want to root for them as a couple, because like at this point, after everything y'all have been through, like I feel like we shouldn't be doing this, you know? I wanted to love this book so bad and I just couldn't. I think that Tracy Livesay made a near perfect story in American royalty, and I just don't think it needed to be a follow-up. Or if we had a follow-up, we could have just had a novella. So that one ended up just being a no for me. I'm not going to go back to it because I tried to go back to it over and over and over again. And y'all gonna think I have something against people named Tracy. I promise I don't, but and I know a lot of y'all are still trying to work on Oathbound, so I know I'm not the only one. This is not, I didn't DNF it because I think it's bad. I DNF'd it because it was just too much. This book scared me. First of all, this book it's huge. It's huge. It's like 650 pages of just trauma. If you are caught up on the Legendborn cycle, then you know how the last book ended. When we start this, we have like a 65-ish page prologue. Yeah, and it was a lot. It was a lot. And by the time I finished that prologue, I was screaming, crying, throwing up, and going, what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? I was stressed. I was stressed and frustrated. Look, the annotations say it all. The way I can't stand his dusty eyes. Yeah, I was in shambles, y'all. And I got through that prologue and I was just like, I don't know if I can do this. I finished my annotations of the prologue and then I haven't picked it up since. And I want to try to at least work on it before the end of the year. But man, this book stressed me out and I barely got into it. I got the chance to meet Tracy at the Bookmarks Festival of Books and Authors back at the end of September. And she is so sweet. She's awesome. And obviously she was hyped because my name is Bree too. But y'all, I was going through it. I didn't get this copy signed. I got my original copy of Legendborn signed, if you're wondering. I know that I'm still going to enjoy it. I'm just not ready for the trauma. But I also feel like at some point, like I need to suck it up and get through it. I feel like my goal for the rest of this year is going to try to at least get to part 2 of this. I feel like if I can make it to part 2, I can get through the entire book. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think. These are the books that I did not finish this year. There are some other things that I didn't finish, but a lot of it is just really and truly like a soft DNF. Like I put it down to work on other things, or, you know, it was really, really spicy and I was just wanted to read something in a different genre, stuff like that, you know? But like I said, this is the first time in a while that I've really like had very like pointed opinions about not finishing books. So I thought I'd share it with you. So y'all let me know, did you have any books that you just could not finish? And like, tell me why. Like, was it just I just can't get through it? Like I'm not in the mood for it. Maybe your taste in genre has been changing. I know that's been happening for me too. I think some of us have overdone it a little bit with our preferred genres. And so that was something that I had to do too. Like I had to start reading other things to help myself get back into the books that I knew that I should love. I just wasn't capable of loving at that moment. So y'all let me know in the comments down below. And I will see you guys tomorrow because we're finally doing book and breakfast. Finally. I love you guys and I'll see you then.